and another wonderful episode of my weirdly original and rambling vlog. Um, Vlog, not blog. I'll get used to it. I will, and I wanted to talk about it one day. Anyway, so this, I, there's a lot of different things that are really on my mind, and that wonderful, wonderful week. I woke up today just absolutely bursting with happiness, and that's not a usual thing. I usually have to work myself into that a little bit, not that I wake up wanting to start the day and do everything, but you know, the pressure of time interferes with things sometimes, and you just have to be in the moment and take it as it comes. And so, anyway, to wake up in an unusually energetic and happy mood this morning was pretty wonderful, I think. And just a lot of very positive things happening. For whatever reason, more and more people have been following my stuff, and it's kind of trippy watching. I was doing some reverse imaging lookup, and like, wow, my these videos, people are actually watching them. They're not necessarily liking and subscribing, but they're watching them and they're sharing them, and that's awesome. It's kind of scary, but it's awesome. I'm very honored, and it's interesting talking to different people and chatting with people regarding where everybody's at spiritually and physically and mentally and with their own understanding and their path, and what am I supposed to be doing, this sort of thing, and am I doing it correctly? Oftentimes, it's so really, really, really important to kind of network with other people. And I'm someone who's, tends to be very, very much a loner, for various different reasons. It's overwhelming being around too many people and their energy, and you go into a room and you can feel absolutely everything. I don't know how to talk to people with normal conversational topics and stuff, so a lot of times I'd rather just isolate than not deal with the company of the unawakened, basically, is what it is. And, they think I'm a snob, and, well, honestly, I think they're snobs too, so it's okay. I forgive you for thinking that about me, because, it's mutual. And we're mirroring whatever we are within ourselves, or our own weaknesses, or whatever. But at least I'm being honest about it. Yes, I do think that people are snobs sometimes. Really, they are. Anyway, that doesn't matter. They can be that way. Arrogance and confidence. I don't see what's wrong with being confident. We're supposed to be. If you know who you are, confidence is just, it's this happiness again, like this energy that just wants to come out. Anyway, what I really, really want to, as I'm delving more into my own spiritual path and reviving the spiritual practice that we had in our life, the Thuban life, is it's means it's everything to me, and I'm incorporating more and more things, and the more that I learn from the earthly uh, cultures and um, sorry, my leg went to sleep. I have to move. Anyway, the more that I learn, the more that I find out that I really cannot be a follower. I want to. I always want to just dive into something, and I want to become this. I want to be, I want to, something that is recognizable that people will, say, oh, wow, I know what that is. That's it. Why does that? It's a comfort zone thing, but it's something that I always tend to gravitate to. And more and more, I'm seeing that that's not possible. I can't be a follower, and I think that most people are probably like that. When you follow someone else, you find yourself in a position of dissatisfaction, because it's natural to, um, as you're going through a process of imitation or memorization or whatever it is, it's natural to find flaws in your teacher or your emulatee, if I can call it that, if that's a word. Um, you will find flaws. I mean, I can honestly say with myself, my arrangement with my spirit guide or my twin, I really want to stop calling Ra my spirit guide because it's confusing when they find out that he's actually in a physical body and lives on Earth, and it's like, okay, that's not really a spirit guide. I don't know, but well, yeah, yes and no. I mean, at some point, I decided to not to say this is my non-human entity that is my twin from another lifetime, actually from every lifetime, and that is in an extraterrestrial body that lives on Earth. Yeah, okay. And then it gets quiet, and you get called a bunch of names. Anyway, um, so I decided spirit guide was more appropriate, but I don't think that that's really appropriate either because it yes and no. Anyway, it's a unique situation. But going back to my topic, which was your own path and following a teacher, that sort of thing. As I follow the closer I get to this being who's connected to myself, the more I see the flaws and the funny little things, and especially when I remote view, we have really interesting exchanges back and forth of visual images, and Ra has a tremendous sense of humor. Oh my gosh. I can't go there with anybody right now, but one day I'll tell some stories of things that I end up being the butt of the joke almost always. We're twins, is the way to understand it. Think of two children, like a brother and sister twin kind of relationship where they're always punching and kicking each other and teasing each other and know exactly how to push the other one's buttons. Anyway, so at some point I decided, though, that I can't follow a man-made tradition in completeness unless it's something that allows me to include absolutely everything and does not require that I submit to an earthly teacher, because I have made the promise to keep my teacher, and I'm very happy with this arrangement. um it's like there's so many different spiritual traditions where you're required to, you either have to be married or you have to not be. If you're female, there's all these rules that you have to be married to somebody of your religion, or you have to convert to their religion, and no. I'm not willing to do that, any of those, none of those things. Anyway, so many things don't work, and I think it's very important that we should allow ourselves the freedom to not follow another's path. And how can we? We have to make our own. That's the whole point of walking with your own feet, is that you are actually doing this. Um, so to follow another, to emulate another person is one thing. We encourage each other. We need each other, like this network of support. When you find others that actually know what you're talking about, you don't have to. It's not like, oh my God, it just got really quiet in this room. It's wonderful, and it's very important. But I think it's very important also to not get caught up into the following of people. I don't need, you know, my when I call myself priestess, reincarnated priestess, it's not something that I'm trying to accumulate followers. Um, I would highly discourage anyone from following me. Highly discourage you. And as we did in our former life, when this fell upon us, it was a practice born out of repetition, trying to recreate the circumstances in where we first came in contact with our spirit parents, as we called them, twin snakes. They were pure energy in motion, and they were us, our higher selves, and our practice revolved very much on trying to quell the inner conflict and competitiveness with others through seeking to connect with our future selves. our higher selves that exist. I think that we understood time very differently in that place, and so it made a lot more sense. To try to explain it to people here is, one of those things again. Anyway, I really feel like I'm wanting to do a short channeling session, and I don't. We've also agreed not to agree on topics anymore for a little while. So I'm going to do my best to turn the reins over and not do the backseat brake driver thing. And I'm going to allow Ra to say whatever he wishes. Okay, so I don't need to take my glasses off to do this, but it's less stress on the joints. Anyway. I'm watching him approaching, and he's passing me something to my hands. I'm holding a crystal at the same time, and I'm seeing this in the astral as I'm doing this. Um, it's a cord. Oh, our friend Constant is here, and here's Ra. He's here, and I'm here. Yes, I'm here. You need to feed this body. What I would like to talk to you today is regarding the desire to quench the voice of others. They have every right to say differently and speak differently. You don't have to allow it in your center, your circle, your understanding, your heart, your mind any more than you want to. We learn from each other, but we have to let it go. When the exchange is done, if it was unpleasant, unsatisfactory, determine that you were there to correct the measure and not to become a victim of it. This is very, very, very important. You have to understand. The way is to breathe at all points in and remember, I am here for a reason. When this becomes habit, it becomes very second nature. Well, that was that was good advice. I felt like I was being corrected in the beginning part because, oh, yes, ouch. I almost wanted to say no. And that's how I know that this isn't me talking because um I didn't expect that message at all. Thank you, my teacher. Um well, it's interesting because this corrects me as well because I got rather peeved at someone for putting a bunch of religious scripture things on, and I've dealt with this a bunch of times on my channel. People want to come at me with this Christ is the only way thing, and it's not true. It can't even possibly be true. I don't want to go into that, but they have a right to speak. Yeah, they do. They do. So do I, but I don't have to allow them in my circle. That's good. So that's about it, I think, for this week. Um, I will try and put something together for next week. Have a wonderful, blessed day.